hey everybody, and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast Live Edition. We got some peoples in the house.
You're in for a treat.
Oh, a treat.
Maximum capacity.
A treat. It says it on the bottle.
Standing room
a
only.
treat.
Oh, it does say that on the bottle.
Yeah, so we got a full house, and I don't know that we've ever done this before, so we had to do a weird camera angle thingy.
We got the drone hovering
It
in
is
the studio.
Drone is hovering.
I told
Drone
Terry
is
to bring
here.
the 360 camera and just hang it in the middle.
That'd be
Disco
pretty
ball?
badass.
That'd be a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, my 360 camera. I could have dropped it from the
Are we
rafters.
live yet?
Yeah, we're live.
We're
We-
live.
oh, okay.
We're live and good looking.
We're looking all right.
Yo, what's up, Jason?
They've really got like awkward silence in here.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Mike. Somebody's breathing into their mic.
I know. It's not me. I held my breath.
I think it was my nose.
I think it was William over there. Young
It was
William.
me. I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's going to be a
Wait, I
great
think it is
episode
me.
tonight at some point.
At what point? There's that awkward silence again.
What?
It's because we're all holding our breath to see who's breathing into the mics.
Yeah.
Who's the mouth
Bunch
breather?
of professionals.
Bunch of mouth breathers.
You're not wrong.
All right, everybody. We'll talk about our partners for a quick hot second. Power tank. I had Overkill deliver my power tank out to me in Moab.
You got a delivery?
I got a delivery,
That's pretty cool.
and then I sent it home with him and drove down and picked it up the other day. Had lunch. But anyway, Jeep Life Pod, I got to hang out with Steve and Tyler, not Steve and Tyler. I make that joke every time, and they laugh every time. But Jeep Life Pod 15 gets you a 15% discount on full system. Make sure to do that.
Wow.
Is it like a polite laugh so
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't feel bad?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
You know,
Tell us that one again.
they're kind gentlemen.
Oh, they definitely are.
One more time. I didn't catch it.
Definitely are.
Yeah, Pipes is offering free shipping on their system to our listeners at Jeep Life at pipesexhouse.com, and I appreciate you carrying on
I had to.
that tradition
Had to.
when I wasn't here, so that's great. Our thanks to Pipes for their undying support. They've been amazing. Cold Case, which I saw your beautiful cold case for your
It is. There is
Reaper out
work-
there.
That's some sweet kit.
There is some work going on.
That might be the most beautiful radiator I've ever seen.
It is purdy.
Yep.
It for sure
it's
is.
some beef. I mean, those
It's
tho-
thick.
those
It's
side
double
mounts
core.
and everything.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
me.
Oh, I
Double core
might.
and thick.
I might cut half of it
But
off.
it's pretty.
Oh,
I may cut half of
Cut.
it off. Just
You're
cut it down the sides.
They're offering free shipping on their systems. Jeep Life, same code, coldcaseradiators.com. Make sure to check that out. Off-camera lighting, you get a discount when you use Jeep Life Pod as your discount. I don't know if Huddy's on with us tonight, but I think he's still offering a discount for
He
us.
is.
And Jeep Life Pod gets you 10% off of Huddy's Beard Balm. Huddy's Beard Balm makes my beard look good, so I appreciate him and his discount. If you're wanting some lights, go light up that Jeep at oraclelights.com. Use the code Jeep and Terry.
Yep.
15% off. Whatever you order, I don't care.
Anything.
Order it all.
Everything.
Everything.
Does
Get it
do
for your
direct
Jeep.
to you.
If you don't have flush mount tail lights on your Jeep by this point, you're wrong
Yep.
Or broke.
or broke. Either way. but use 15% off and you'll be less broke. How's that sound?
There you
Less
go.
broke.
Are you sure it's not broker?
Less
Less
broke
broker.
and.
It's less broker.
Less broker. But that's it for our partners for right now. Once we get the show rolling, we'll give that Armorlight love like we always do. How we feeling, boys?
Hit that button.
Which reminds me, I need to set up the button so I can hit that button.
The button.
We didn't know how to do that last time.
We pressed lots of buttons.
it was not.
It lasted 10 minutes, and then the button ceased.
So last time I went away, I gave you guys written instructions on how to do this.
You didn't give me
like
shit.
And this time I didn't give you anything, did I?
You were like, okay, yeah, you can figure it out.
I'm
We're
gonna make
calling
a,
Terry. He's like,
He's like, oh,
in the
I'm
middle
out
of
on
a
the
night
trail.
ride,
I can't
I'm
talk,
like, I gotta
guys.
go.
What do you
I
need?
gotta go.
I gotta go.
I'm gonna make a
anything.
laminated card that's just attached to this thing, like a
Oh.
lockout tag out.
It was ridiculous.
That'd be smart. Why don't we do that?
Lockout, tag out.
A laminated card.
Because I have the instructions that you can do it straight up. And
It's like making a work instruction. Here you go. Push the button. There's that awkward silence again.
I thought we were supposed to be quiet.
That's what I thought too.
Wasn't it time to be quiet?
It wasn't time to be quiet.
there it is. Now we're
Now we're cooking.
recording.
All right.
All right, that's beautiful.
Glad something's going on over there because last time it said stuff was going on and nothing was going on.
Well, there
Another-
was stuff going on for 10 minutes, and then exactly at 10 minutes, it threw the double finger, and
I
I,
guess.
stopped doing
I had
whatever.
exactly 0 audio from you ass clowns.
Hey! But we
From
hey,
when? From Facebook?
No, it was
all Facebook. It was
it
all
was the
using the
camera.
mic. On
Oh,
the
I know.
Yeah, and so when Don would turn his head,
oh, it would
went-
totally go away. I listened.
complete silence.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't go through and just bump that because it was one track. It was.
I'm
See, I told my
sorry.
wife my loud.
You just had to
carrying
turn a
voice
lot of
has
it up.
value at some point.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was we did our best. What do you want from us?
yeah, right.
We tried.
Yeah.
We tried
we
really
gave
hard.
We gave it the old effort.
I'm proud of you. I'm
Yeah.
proud
And
of you. All right,
three-
I'm hitting that button. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Jeep Live podcast, proudly presented by Armorlight, the toughest flooring on the trail.
Presented?
It's
Presented.
just present.
Presented.
So I think I just figured out why we had 78 people last time we were on. It's because Terry was in Moab talking to everybody.
That's right.
And then,
Obviously.
I curious, like, what did he fly back to
I
do the podcast?
I
to jump
guess.
on?
Something of the sort.
Well, you're catching us on a beautiful night. Don't adjust your sets, ladies and gentlemen. We have 4 people here in the studio. We're bursting at the seams.
It's the Eclipse special.
It's
It
the
is.
Eclipse special. I don't know if you can all fit in this room. It's getting a little tight.
It's all right, Bill.
This was-
You've
this was a beta
eclipsed- You've
test.
eclipsed Jason out.
We're just
I guess.
Yeah, watch.
Yeah.
And
he
then
goes
for like
he
3
goes away.
minutes, and then I come back.
I don't know. Something happened with the camera.
No, it's eclipse. That's what
See?
Billy and yeah.
See what happens?
There's a moon. I don't think that was supposed to go like that though.
Boom.
Is that a Jeep driving across it? Well, here we are.
Oh, we're back.
See?
There, we're back.
We're back.
Yeah, how about that? And we're back.
We're four-wheel driving here.
So yeah, we've got all 4 of us in the studio. I'm back from the Moabs, and you guys held down the fort. I appreciate it while we were gone.
Well, we tried.
Yeah.
Not
I
much.
feel like at least the corner was blowing
My-
away. and
my-
flapping in the
was-
wind,
My
but we were
favorite
trying to
part
hold it
was,
down.
how we would be on every Sunday or Monday from 3 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then didn't show up the following Monday.
Yeah.
We just wanted to find out who was going to complain.
Right,
Who noticed?
right.
Yeah, so it's all good. I'm glad everybody's here. But I want to thank our presenting sponsor, Armorlight, and they help out our listeners with an exclusive discount at Jeep Life Podcast 10 for a complete system at Armorlight. Go armorlight.com. And I got to hang out with them out in Moab and do.
Well, I got to install an armor light
Yeah.
and use the crap out of my armor light.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, we did. It was nasty.
It was a nasty time, but seriously, armor light for the win.
Yeah.
Installing it can be a little bit tricky. However, once you have it installed, it's super easy to clean up. The drain plugs are amazing, and I can't wait to clean mine up again.
Yeah, it's. I did that firsthand in the Gladiator out there. It
Yeah.
got it all dirty and then cleaned it up for the show, and it looked good as new.
Comes right back.
So I guess let's jump in. You guys were out on the trail last week, right? Last weekend?
So we were hanging out with Tread Lightly, and Don and I did a trail cleanup at AOAA, Anthracite Outdoor
Yeah.
Adventure Area. And so it was a super good time. We were able to hit probably about 3 different sites, kind of cleaning up
Yep.
different piles of trash. One of them was the main site that we were going to, and then the other 2 were smaller. We pulled a whole bunch of tires out of the woods.
That was my favorite
and
part.
we had a blast. We were hanging out with the Quadratech JTE. So that is
Oh,
a
yeah.
JL converted to a Gladiator, 2-door Gladiator, and it has a rear-mounted winch.
Yeah, that's,
So we were able to
Yep.
use the rear-mounted winch to pull tires out of the ground, and we felt like men.
it is a good feeling to use that rear mounted winch, though.
It was
It's a
a good
good
time.
feeling to use any winch.
Yeah, well, yeah,
But yeah,
there is that. So I was out in Moab and got to hang out with the West Coast Tread Lightly guys
Yeah.
while I was out there. But I wish I was able to do the trail cleanup here. I had a prior engagement in Delaware and wasn't
Yeah.
able to.
It was important.
It was important. So let's talk a little bit about EJS and my adventure out there.
Heck yeah.
It was the EGS that I got to do the most trails. I did a ton of trails. Matter of fact, did 3 in one morning before I took Justin back to the airport. We were just
That's
trying
really
to get as
cool.
much as we could in. The weather was schizophrenic. It was 65 and sunny, or it was 30 and snowing, or the wind was blowing, or it was raining. So it had a little bit of everything. It's because Easter was early this year.
Yeah.
It was a little more tumultuous, if you will. I was able to drive the Oracle Gladiator. I now want a Gladiator so bad. That thing is awesome. It's on 37s. It's a stock Rubicon with the Mopar lift. It's not like the Bronco that has the zone lift on it or anything extra. It's pretty basic, but still pretty cool. It was able to do everything I wanted it to. I think it was crazy.
Well, you had lockers.
I did, and I used them a couple of times.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about out there is traction really isn't an issue. It literally is like driving on sandpaper.
yeah.
It's not like here.
No.
No.
No, I used a lot of lockers, and I used a lot of spinny tires this past weekend.
Right. But it was great. I mean, you do need sometimes with the steepness sometimes of those ledges, you do need a little extra work with it. You need that here, but you don't have trees. There aren't trees. I did get to hang out with some really cool people and arrange some future guests,
That's cool.
which is pretty awesome for our listeners, and meet some really, really cool people, some people that I knew already, which friends of the podcast, the Rev Kit team, we've had them on, and Mike and Dan want to come back on the show, but I did get to do some night wheeling with those guys. And I know the guys in the studio, I've already kind of told this story. So Wednesday night, I had set that aside for, industry dinners and parties and just doing the industry thing, going out and being a representative of Oracle. And so I went to the first one. It was great. Met some people. Got us a a person lined up to come on the show, and I'm excited about that. I don't want to announce it until we have a date locked in. So then that was great. Then went to the next dinner that was put on by Dana Spicer and Super Winch and Weston, and that was awesome. Tons of great prizes. Did I win? No, but it was still pretty cool. But lined up a couple people there, and one of them is huge, and I think that's going to happen. But after that, I went to the next one, and it was starting to fizzle out as we got there. But Dan and Mike came up and said, "Hey, we're going out." And I was like, "All right, where are we going?" "Oh, we're going to do a night run on Fins and Things." "All right, cool, let's go." So it's 10 o'clock at night, and we're headed out to go wheeling. What I didn't know is they had already kind of challenged themselves. It was going to be a 2-wheel drive ride. They weren't
Fins and Things and 2-wheel drive.
Yes.
And
at 10, 11,
high
12,
horsepower LSs and LSXs.
they all have LS and LX swaps and 40-inch tires, coilovers, the whole 9 yards.
And a lead foot.
And a lead foot. And they're all young and dumb and
That sounds like somebody.
I know,
we
right?
know.
The whole time, all I
No,
think was
he's grown up.
No, I
He
haven't.
is another year older.
He did grow up tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly.
But I was like, Billy should be here. He would be eating this up. But we took all the tough offshoots of Fins and Things, and they were just pushing it off the rev limiters and just having a great time and watching all those vehicles just.
There's only one way to send it.
There was full send. Let me
that's
tell you.
full send.
And here I am. I just crawl up every obstacle, in 4 low, because my vehicle's not built for that. But it was. I could do everything they did. I just did a lot slower and quieter. But it was pretty awesome to hang out with them. Then the industry show is always that's kind of why we went out there, was for the vendor show and did some sales and that was great. Meet a lot of people. But the highlight of the trip was Monday night. We did a trail ride. Rockside Engineering, Armalite, and Oracle teamed together to do a sunset ride up 7 Mile Rim and did backwards bill. And as we're going out, it's daylight-ish. We're driving right past the Jeep concept vehicles that are already set up for the next morning for the.
So you stole one of those?
We did. We just stole one of those.
Okay.
No, they would have shot us on sight. There's no rules and laws out there.
They would have had to catch us first.
I know, right? But we had 29 Jeeps on this ride, and it was stellar. We kind of planned it so that we would get right at the Monitor Merrimack rock formations at sunset and line all the vehicles up without lights, let the sunset go behind us, and then light up the sky. And it was really cool to see all those Jeeps with their lights and everything. So that was the highlight. We all had a good time. We did all the obstacles, and then we got off the trail, and man, it was a really, really good time. Wish you guys could have been there.
I know. I'm jealous. I think we need to all fly out next year.
I thought about it, and then I looked at the tickets, and they were $1,000 a piece.
Wow.
We're driving.
Really?
It's so expensive
Drive.
to fly out there.
Why is it so much?
It's cheaper to drive.
I mean, if you look and fly into Salt Lake or Salt Lake City or Grand Junction, it's not as bad. But you have to get from Salt Lake City to Moab
It's
or from
cheap.
Grand Junction.
It's cheaper to put 2 rigs on a trailer and drive with
Yeah,
3
see.
Yeah, so
You're chipping in for gas.
It's just the time commitment to drive out.
That's
back.
what I'm saying.
yeah, it's a 40-hour drive.
Like
It's
I
many
don't
days.
even want to fly. I just want to teleport.
Yeah, well, we all want to just teleport, dude. But you got to put the time in to have the fun.
Yeah, no doubt.
But
But
you're
yeah,
going to say you're going to have to put the time in to learn how to teleport.
Well, that too.
I've been working on it for a long time. If I make any breakthroughs, I'll let you know.
yeah, it's quite the drive out. I took the long way.
We're not taking the long way.
You mean there's a long way for a 40-hour drive?
Somehow
Wait,
I
hang on.
found it.
It's called a Four Corners trip.
Yeah, no doubt. It was crazy. Then of course, coming back, I'm not gonna talk our horror story.
Let's not talk about that.
No, it's not. But we made it back in one piece, and I made my flight by 3 hours, and made it back home. But it was one of those amazing trips, and Eric's on right now. I got to spend a lot of time wheeling with him. His
cool.
Jeep finally made it back out to Moab. I
Yeah.
know it hadn't been back actually in Moab since he's owned it. But it was good to have that out there, and he was like a kid in a candy store.
Well, that Jeep is highly capable.
Oh
so
my God, yeah, very.
Yeah.
But he did spend a lot of time working on it. There was a lot of
Well,
clacks and rattles, and
you
Yeah.
need to
yeah,
work out the bugs.
That's right.
for sure. But if you get a chance, I would definitely recommend Moab for a I don't want to say a once in a lifetime trip because you should do it more than once, but it is really a mecca for our industry, and just to get out there. There are hard trails, there are easy trails, and both are just as fun because you come around a corner and you see a sight you've never seen before. Moab it's as if someone took Mars and just plopped it in the middle of Utah, and it's absolutely gorgeous. The red rock is ridiculous. It truly is like wheeling on sandpaper. You get that skirt sound of your wheels, the four-wheel drive.
That's what you turn the
doing its
lockers
thing.
on for, just that sound.
Just that sound.
Yeah.
But it's therapeutic to the soul too. You just get out
Yeah.
there and you just stand there.
Yeah,
and
I
you
want to
just-
see the Red Rock.
Yeah, Red Rock, all the dinosaur trails,
Yep.
like-minded people all over. We're all
Yeah.
off-roaders, and I got out there before EGS started, so there were more Toyotas and Broncos out there than when I first got out there. But it was still, even though they own a different branded vehicle, those people are probably very similar mindset as an off-roader,
That's the indigenous people out there.
right. It really is.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun, and seeing other people in our industry. Guys at the Jeep Talk show were out there, and at some point we're going to do a joint thing with them where Tony and I just sit down and shoot the breeze, and we'll use the audio for both shows, and that way I keep him honest and he keeps me honest, and but it was good to see those guys out there, and just all the industry professionals that end up in that part of the country for a week. It's kind of interesting just to see those people, because a lot of them are West Coast people, and we don't get to see them much on the East
That's
Coast.
kind of a distance.
Yeah.
Even if you saw people that are 2-3 states away, that's somewhat of an accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then everybody in one location, nonetheless.
Right.
Yep.
All at one time.
Yep.
It's a thing.
Lots of fun. Got to hang out with Holly. She's coming here again this summer.
Oh, good.
I know somewhere in June. I don't have the exact dates, but we'll get to spend some time with Holly and the team. Marvin, people that have been on the show, Tanner.
Yep.
It was good to hang out with them, and they're friends of the podcast, and they say good things about us even when we're not around. So it was good
Appreciate
to do that and reline that up. I know I've got Rockside Engineering on the calendar to come back on the show to talk about all the new stuff, including stuff that I can talk about now.
Dude,
They're-
their trailer was freaking sweet.
Oh, that trailer is
I
sweet.
want one.
Yeah, for sure. But Rockside Engineering is now on the Jeep Performance Parts list, and
Wow.
you can buy your Jeep with Rockside Engineering on it from the factory.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty
Wow.
cool. So that I've known about that for a while, but I was sworn to secrecy over a drink, and and it's good to be able to talk
You
about
remember that you swore to secrecy.
I worked for Apple for 18 years. I'm pretty good at keeping the secret.
That's right.
But it's good to be back home, and I can't wait for us to be out on the trail together.
I know.
And
It's
that's
gonna
coming up
happen
soon. Yeah, I mean, so many times I would just sit there and go, man, where's my guys? Man, it would be so much fun if they were here. Oh, wait, at 2 o'clock, McDonald's run in the buggy. They would have allowed that. You know?
We would have went. It wasn't. We wouldn't have asked. We just
No, I
would've
know,
went.
right?
Although there is sort of an edginess to it when it's not allowed.
Yeah, but then also we have an escape route of trails.
Yeah, true,
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Probably not.
But you know, I did some trails I haven't done before. I did some old favorites. I have my list of 3 that I haven't done that I have to do the next time I'm out there. I was going to do 2 of them on this run, and I didn't want to drive 45 minutes to so I just did the ones I could do, and I could do a bunch of them. It was really, really great, and I'm glad to be home. That's it. That's my EJS. Oh, and the concepts. Jeep always does concept vehicles. We got to see them the night before out on the trail. We didn't get to go up close to them, but we got to see them. I don't think there's anything special this year because everything has already been out except for the Willis model. That was pretty nice, but it was nothing special. The upholstery was nice on all of them, and then Matt Zerbrick's team did some amazing graphics work. They really are owning that in a big way.
Well, I saw that chop down one running the
Yeah.
oversized. I was like,
Yeah.
said to my wife, I go, you think we got room for a 5th Jeep?
But that's an older concept that they did a few
Was
years
it?
ago.
I
Yeah.
don't think I'd ever seen that.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, it had some updates. Like they modernized things, but that was
Gotcha.
a previous concept. So on that standpoint, it was a little underwhelming, if you
Okay.
will. It was still cool to walk through the Jeep booth and see all these vehicles. And
Last year was a hard year to top, though, too, because they had some cool
it was
concepts last year.
Yeah.
With the Grand Wagoneer.
Yep. And Bob,
Yep.
the Bob Gladiator
Yep.
with the Hemi in it, and of course Magneto 3.0 was out. They didn't do any. I'm not sure.
No
if,
EV stuff.
No, they had to part them out
No.
so they could build them.
Yeah, right. But it was fun. What I'm going to question? What are the 3 that I want to do? I want to do Elephant Hill because I just like the idea of the canyon, driving tight in that canyon. It's not a hard trail at all, but it is a badge of honor trail, and I'd like to get it. I want to do Pritchett Canyon.
Mhm.
I haven't done Pritchett Canyon, and I want to do it. I think my skill set is enough that I can do it now. Maybe not a year or 2 ago, but I think now I've got enough seat time that I feel like I can accomplish it, especially if I have a vehicle that can stretch its legs a little bit. And then what is the third one?
So I want to do Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the third one.
I wanted to do Cliffhanger.
I want to do Cliffhanger. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen so many videos of that, and I just watching a video of my puckers, and
I just want to do it.
I want to do it. I want to
Yep.
be that close to the edge of the world and driving up the side of a cliff.
Yep.
I definitely want to do that.
You better hurry up before they put a guardrail on it.
I know.
I know,
Seriously.
But I'm happy that I had such a good time. The coming back was a struggle, but I missed this, and I wish I'd done more of this while I was out there. I always have plans. I take the equipment. I carry the damn equipment everywhere, and then I don't do a third of what I wanted to do. I'm just going too much,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I come home,
I hear you.
I crash.
So what have you been doing, Jetty Jason, Jeepin' wise?
I didn't get to do that, but I did go driving on the beach the other weekend.
Yeah. Saw some pictures.
Yeah. So
Last Friday, you sent me some pictures. I was out on the trail, and you were out on your trail.
That's right. Well, it was really interesting because so this time of the year, it's still off season,
Right.
and my little guy is all about fishing.
Yeah.
And there is a striper derby that you can register
Okay.
for, which does grant you access for fishing purposes up
To
and
the
down the
beach.
entire
Okay.
beach. So you're not just restricted to the zones
The
of
low end.
the normal zones that you can have it. And because of all the rain, there was like the world's largest tide pool I'd ever seen. Literally picture, you've got the coastline, sort of a mound of sand,
Yeah.
and then like a 1.5 mile long tide pool.
Wow.
So he was like, I want to see this. We're going to drive up, and we were trying to go figure out if we could go fish anywhere, but it really was consuming a lot of the beach, so we didn't
okay.
get too far. And did that, and then the entries the in and out was flooded out,
Okay.
which that was part of what I
Yeah.
had sent you. I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm going through a mud puddle, but instead of a mud
It's
puddle, it was a sand puddle.
Sand hole.
So it was just
Okay.
a little of that. Just
Okay.
trying to
Yeah.
have fun with
Dr. Don.
family.
I worked on show notes and read this email from this guy Blake that sent us a picture of his shop.
Yeah, how about that, huh?
Yeah,
That's
Pretty
pretty
cool.
good.
yeah. I'm digging it.
You want to read it out loud?
I certainly would love to.
Sounds great.
Just wanted to say hi. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me do a redo on that. Just wanted to say that I love the podcast. I listen to Jeep Life every day at work and then re-listen to old episodes until I can get my new episode fix.
I don't. That's dedication right there.
That's going back.
It's a glowing review.
Yeah, I realized like we have a lot of recordings. When I went
Oh
back
my
and
God,
did all
yeah.
the Patreon stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh. I don't know if you are still accepting shop submissions or not, but here it is. It's not much, but it gets the job done. It's a carport attached to the duplex I rent with my wife. Sure, it's just barely enough to squeeze my XJ and tools into, but I'm always so happy to have a place of my own to work on my Jeep. When I first got into off-roading, I lived in a third-story apartment. I can tell you it's not fun carrying a jack and jack stands up and down 3 flights of stairs. I still remember the apartment security getting mad at me for doing an MP242 transfer case replacement in the middle of the parking lot. Ha ha. Anyway, Jeep up, the great work, and here's a Jeep wave to you. I love the picture. Like,
It's freaking sweet.
it's seriously, how cool is that? Like, it just goes to show you don't need to have like a full-on shop. You can
Make do with what you have,
Yep,
man.
absolutely.
Yep. And for those viewing at home, I'm trying to bring it up real quick and put it on the show for you. But
Nice and clean and organized, and he's again, it kind of takes me back to the days when I didn't have all the equipment I do now,
Heck yeah.
and life was a lot simpler, and I still managed to get the job done probably better then than I do now.
yeah, see if this will work. Yeah, there it is.
You almost start to lean on all the equipment when you've got everything.
You do. Oh, absolutely.
Because now
you
you're
do.
like, what
Look,
do you
this
mean I don't
plasma-
have a lift?
This
like,
plasma cutter isn't cutting fast enough.
when you have to
I need a
complain-
hypotherm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Back in the day, a bag of thermite, and
yeah.
we're gonna.
We're going to make this hot in the oven and then put the other piece in the freezer.
That's right.
And
Yep. So no, there's a lot to be said for that. That's cool.
And that's a
Good
clean
looking
XJ.
Cherokee.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
hopefully everything will go back together.
What bumper is that in the front? Say
Um,
Quadratec?
No.
No, I don't know what it is.
Badlands winch. I can't tell what that plate is.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, it's pretty cool, whatever it is.
It's a good clean
But
looking bumper.
Blake, thanks for sending that in. And yeah, the plate says it starts with an R.
yeah.
So it's
rough,
R squiggle Y. It's
Hmm.
kind of like my signature.
Rough stuff? No. What's their symbol? I don't know.
I don't
All
know.
right. Well, Blake, if you're listening, let us know what front bumper's on there.
And
all
Blake's
curious
up
now.
in Washington State, apparently.
Hmm.
So thanks for sending that in. If you've got an email, you've got a shop that you want to show off,
Send it in.
Send it in. Email address is info@jeeplifepodcast.com. That's the easiest way to reach us.
Send them the picture of my shop.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We got a good one.
We got a really good one.
Is that the one with the lift?
Yeah.
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 That
That's-
picture is awesome.
It is. If at first I was like, oh, it's in. I thought it was just a shot of Don's shop, and then I looked. Oh wait, that's some flexing going on right there. Somebody used the lift creatively.
We always
Oh,
do.
we always do. But I mean, that whoever edited that picture, I think it's some of the best marketing that's ever come out of Quadratech. Like they made my shop look good
Good, yeah.
and clean.
Yep.
Yes, they did.
Yep.
That's
I
awesome.
saw that AI.
Don't let it go to his head, though.
context editing.
No, right?
I did say it's the only good marketing some of the best marketing.
So we've got some events coming up. We're going to be out and about for sure, and starting in like 2 weeks, it's going to get busy.
It's gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
So,
and
starting-
one less event.
Yes.
Starting April 20th is the Jeep Enthusiasts of Eastern Pennsylvania Trail Ride up at AOAA.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be heading straight into April 24th and 28th. That is Jeep Beach in Daytona, Florida.
Yep. I'll be
You're-
there.
You're heading there,
Yep.
Terry? Unfortunately, this one has been canceled. So May 3rd to the 5th, Over Sand Expo in Wildwood, New Jersey
Heartbroken.
has been canceled.
Heartbroken. I wanted to.
So you
camp
heard
on
it
the
here.
beach.
And if you and your friends are going, please let them know that you're not going to be going anymore. So Over Sand Expo in Wildwood, New Jersey is canceled this year.
Well, you can go. Just send a check to Jamie and
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
park on the beach. The
See,
Wildwood police won't have a
They
problem
won't have
with
too
that.
much of a problem.
Right.
June 18th and 19th is Bantam Jeep Festival in Butler, Pennsylvania. June 29th is Reclaim for First Responders event in Columbus, New Jersey, put on by the Pine Barrens Venom Jeep Club. July 12th to the 14th is New Jersey Jeep Invasion in Wildwood, New Jersey. That is definitely happening this year,
Yep.
and tickets are almost sold out. So make sure you get yours. Head over to New Jersey Jeep Invasion Eventbrite page, and you will be able to get your Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday pass, or
Yep.
whatever combination you want.
And we'll be there. I think all of us might be there.
Yeah, I think so.
So.
July 19th to the 20th is PA Allbridge Jeep Fest out in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I will definitely probably be there as well.
I won't be at that one. I'll be Bronco
Oh, Fest.
Bronco busting.
That sounds like a
Oh.
good time.
Yeah.
And then August 22nd to the 24th is Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Yep, I'll be there.
I'll be there. Don will be there.
yep, we're going wheeling. So what kind of pants do you have to wear to Bronco busting?
Assless chaps.
You said it, I did.
Yep. I love it.
August 25th is the Warren Trail Ride at Windrock Trails in
It's a Windrock Park.
Windrock Park. My bad.
Off-road park or something. I don't know.
Off-road park
Adventure
in
area.
Oliver Springs,
Adventure
Tennessee.
Arena.
And then September 21st to the 22nd is Fall New Jersey Jeep Invasion in Ocean City.
Ocean City.
It's in Ocean City this year.
You
I'm
know
in
what?
Uh,
command of the ocean faring area.
Yeah, you are. I gotta check in with
I do have to
Jetty
say,
Jason.
what, 2 or 3, no, 3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah.
the three of us did the fall invasion, and
That
it was
was-
so relaxed. And
Seriously,
I
that was a good weekend.
that was one of the best events I've ever
That's
done.
where Monkey Butler was invented.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly where it was invented.
That was the Telly Nut and Monkey Butler
Yes.
and
Oh, the Tully
some
Nut.
shittery was going
Oh
on.
my God. But it was one of those times where the three of us got to bond, and it was bad.
It was the only show my Jeep was ever out.
And
in
we,
the
and we
same
put
line,
it,
yeah.
and we put
Yeah.
it in the back of the booth at first.
Oh, we did, didn't we? Put it in the
Yeah,
back
we
at
put
first.
it on the side or the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the other side. Of
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Oh, whose Jeep is this?" And we're like, "Oh, there's Terry's, there's Don's, there's Billy's, there's Terry's. Oh, Don's is over there."
But since then, yours has always been in the back, or
That was
Yeah.
the only time. It's
Yeah.
always in the back. It's all right.
somebody's got to be there.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Yeah, so make sure to check that out if you're not already going. Go. It's a good time. It's one of those things. It's no pressure. It's chill, and you get to see a bunch of Jeeps. It's awesome.
Heck yeah.
All right.
We're gonna make it electrifying again up in here.
It is going to be electrifying, if you will.
So before we start, I'm just gonna before I start going through these notes, we're gonna make some references to some different electrical tests and things like that. I am actually not going to go over tonight because of time the actual process of doing these tests. However, they are in the show notes, and all the show notes are now being posted to Patreon. I've went in and reorganized the entire Patreon account, so the show notes are actually tagged to the show episode. So if you're listening to an episode and you had a question or didn't quite get something, you can go in and look at the show notes for that.
Cool.
Plus, there's a new article, more ride article in there. I accidentally deleted your what gears is best article, so we're
okay.
gonna have to
I have it
repost
again.
that. Yeah,
I have a whole bunch of stuff to go on there.
That was my learning curve in Patreon since I hadn't been in it for so long. But
It's
anyway,
okay.
all right. So last week we talked about like basic principles of electricity and things like that. This week we're going to get a little more specific. We're going to talk about some systems, some common problems, how to test those for those problems.
Light it on fire and call the insurance company.
Yeah.
I had that thought this week.
Amen. Oh. So before you do any of this stuff, I'm a firm believer you need a good foundation to start on, right? And in our vehicles, that's battery
Don,
starting
what's
and
our
charging.
foundation?
Battery starting and charging.
Quicksand.
Thank you, Bill. Starting with the battery, and just because your Jeep starts every morning does not mean the battery's in great shape. So first thing you do.
How do you test if your battery's in good shape?
So the best way to do it is to you really should have a piece of equipment that you can put a load test on the battery. But that's all expensive stuff. Like the Autel I have at my shop was $3,000.
Okay.
Now you can get like at Harbor Freight the old pile style
Mm-hmm.
for
Can you just put like a big
$75.
screwdriver across it and be like, yeah, it melted a number 3.
Hell
that
yeah.
works it.
oh yeah.
All right.
Let me know.
It's old school, baby.
So there's a couple ways you can do it without, having that equipment. So the first thing is and I firmly believe that if you are wheeling, you should have in your toolkit a digital multimeter capable of measuring volts AC, DC, resistance, and amps AC and DC at the minimum. So you get your DMM and you check for what we call open
That's a
circuit.
digital multimeter, DMM. Please remember that one for the rest of this.
Write that in your notes.
Write this down.
Yep. So do an open circuit voltage test. That's nothing on. And you go ahead and you put your positive lead on the positive, your red test lead on your positive battery post, negative on negative post, and you should have at least 12.6 volts. So it's 2.1 volts per cell.
Right.
And you have 6 cells, so it's 12.6. So now if you dip down around 12.4, 12.3, not horrible.
Yeah.
You're below 12.1.
It's not starting very well.
It's not right. Your battery's not charged as well as it should. So another test that you can do is voltage drop across the terminals. Let's check and see what kind of condition your terminals are. So again, with your multimeter set to volts DC, red test lead goes on the battery positive terminal. Black one test lead goes on the actual post, and if you have more than like 0.2 volts, you have corrosion or something happening between the post and the terminal. And here's what happens: people will coat their batteries with stuff they shouldn't. They'll take grease and paint grease on it, so that it inhibits the corrosion, or they think it does, or spray it with like this brake quiet, the red tacky stuff.
Yeah.
And what happens is that stuff actually melts with the heat from the engine and then goes down between the posts of the battery.
Interesting.
And and the terminal.
So
Absolutely.
shiny brushed is clean, and clean is good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in not putting anything on there.
No dielectric grease. No,
No
none of that
crap.
stuff.
Nope, I wouldn't do it. So I do not.
Interesting.
So another important test to do to check your battery is what we call a negative side voltage drop. So we're going to check the insulated negative side of the battery, and you're going 1 test lead. You're doing a voltage drop on the negative side, basically 1 test lead to the battery, 1 to the engine block, and that's checking your ground side of your circuit. And that should never be, any of your voltage drops should never be more than 0.5 volts. Last test for your battery, parasitic draw.
Oh, yeah.
So parasitic draw is the amount of amperage being pulled off the battery while the vehicle's sitting and key is off. You should never have more than 0.075 or 75 milliamps is the absolute max.
So turning on all those rock lights and leaving them on while I'm in the parking lot
Well,
should
unless
be
they're
limited.
unless they're Oracle LED, you're going to have more than 0.075 amps. So, no, 50 milliamps is about the average for that. On some vehicles, you'll see it on the high side. You'll see 75 milliamps, but for the most part, you want that down pretty low. So
And that's continuous parasitic draw. Just stuff that you would leave on.
Right.
If you're just turning it on to do the show or whatever, that's one thing because you can turn it off and get back on.
Right.
the
But if every
alternator.
minute that it's off,
But-
it's just
Right.
pulling.
So and again, I have all the all the directions for how to do that are in here in the show notes, and you can get those on Patreon. Because there are some tips to it, like you should really leave the vehicle sit for up to 5 minutes once you do the test, because you want to make sure that the parasitic amperages. It takes modules a little bit to go to sleep. So like I had my daughter's Volkswagen in, and we were doing a parasitic draw on that. It started at like 250 milliamps, and it dropped to 129, and then it actually took a good another 5 minutes till that dropped down to it was 50 milliamps.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and there are some computers that keep thinking too while they're attached to the battery too.
Yeah.
So
well that's what that parasitic draw is. That's
Yeah.
usually to keep
mean,
memory alive. And
it needs to know when you push the button to start the car.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. So yeah,
Something's
they just go
listening.
into standby. So on the charging side, your alternator, you want to make sure you got between 13.2 and 15.2 volts when it's running. There is 2 additional tests. You're going to do voltage drops on the positive insulated circuit. And you do not want to be above a half a volt. And then you can also do it in the negative side of the alternator, which is from the case to the engine block, because the alternator generator grounds through the case. And again, neither of those should be above a half a volt. It is key to do that, to check that on the newer Jeeps, the JKs, JLs, because of the way they actually regulate voltage. So they're running, what they're doing to regulate voltage on those is they're looking at battery voltage, but it has to do with resistance. Well, resistance greatly affects it, and therefore, because they're going after a target voltage, and therefore either get an overcharge or an undercharge issue. So JKs, JLs are really subject to that. And then what they end up doing is pulse width modulating the rotor side of the alternator to make it charge more. So, starting system. Yeah. So starter.
Crank that bitch over.
Same thing. Starter.
It's your number one battery test.
Your insulated positive circuit. You want to make sure that you do voltage drop across that. Make sure that that's in good shape. Again, no more than a half a volt. And you're going to do the same thing on the negative side. You don't want more than half a volt, and then you're just going from the case to the block.
And starters are very simple. Like, it's just a motor and a solenoid.
That's it.
They're very simple.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
So-
And they don't really, starters themselves don't, like when they fail now, they fail. It's,
Right. You're not hitting it with a hammer and
It just
and
don't
getting
work.
it to work.
Well, sometimes, but you're not getting that slow crank from
No.
the starter. If you're getting a slow crank, it's somewhere else usually anymore. But
It's
you
either
know.
alive or dead.
Yep. So that's.
And when they're dead, that's awfully inconvenient.
But with
Shit
you,
don't start.
no. But when you do start getting high resistance in these circuits, like I said, it affects everything else. So make sure that these 3 circuits are in good shape. Plus, you don't want to be out in the woods and, like Billy said, your shit don't start.
Yeah, it's not fun.
No.
That's the worst.
Yeah. I think that was Cherokee life.
It was a lot of lives, dude.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I usually broke something else that just controlled me getting somewhere.
Or steering.
Or, yeah, steering, drive
Steer-
shafts.
Steering led to the worst
That was-
outing the
that was
3 of us have
awful.
ever had.
Okay. So let's get to the stuff everybody wants to hear about. I really took notes and wrote notes down on 4 systems, accessory systems that I feel like are on a lot of different vehicles. Winch, fridge,
Yep.
audio,
And lights.
and lights. Yep. So now there's not that there couldn't be more, e-lockers, things like that. But
Yeah.
but these are some common ones. Winch. So first thing that I'd say for putting a winch in electrically, I'm not getting into mounting that winch tonight or anything like that. We're talking about the electrical system. Number 1, make sure that you have some kind of circuit breaker, fuse, or interrupter on it.
Cutoff switch.
Yep, that's the interrupter.
Yep.
And
Circuit breaker is exactly what it sounds like. It
Yep.
is a high amp circuit breaker or a fuse rated to the amps that your winch is actually going to draw.
It's going to be kind of hard to find.
So fuses for that, you're looking at a big sucker,
yeah.
and
Bus fuse.
you're looking winches when they're peaking out, they will hit 340, 400 amps.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of current traveling through those lines. Now you probably won't find the fuse. They do make circuit breakers, and the easiest is the power interrupter.
Well, and also, me personally, I would most likely want the interrupter on it because
Yep.
the interrupter also gives you the ability to shut the winch down in case of solenoid pack
And put that
failure.
interrupter on the
contact failure.
positive side, guys. It doesn't work that well on the negative side.
Yeah.
Because
Well, it still leaves
winches,
something that could ground out.
right, winches can ground out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely, wholeheartedly. Oh.
My luck, it'll ground out.
Yeah. Make sure you are using the correct size cables. So if you buy a brand new winch, no big deal. It comes with the cables.
Should.
It's not going to come with. It may come with, like Super Winch used to ship them with a circuit breaker bank, but I don't know of any company that's shipping it with interrupters. But comes with the cables. I think usually 9 times out of 10 it comes with the cables. Make sure that if it's a used one, that you're using the right cables because again, 300, 350 amps is a
They will
big
melt
draw.
quick.
Oh, they will. So, that's super important.
Also inspect the quality of the cables, like when you get them and over time. You know, it's another thing to just keep
Yep.
an eye on.
Yep, absolutely. Connections. If you are building a set of cables for it, do not get the cheap Harbor Freight ring terminals
No.
and crimp them on. So there are actually, and I put a link to some terminals, heavy-duty battery terminals, and tools to actually crimp them on the cables so that you have a good contact.
Properly.
Otherwise, cable management is ultra important. Keep the cables off of or away from anything hot. Thermodynamics makes a huge difference in resistance. And so if something gets hot, resistance goes up too high, you lose performance, you could possibly end up damaging something. And make sure that they're away from moving stuff as well.
Well, my first winch, actually, the cable ran across something that did move, and it wore down the sheathing, and literally was moments away from catching on fire.
Yeah, you're lucky because
Yeah.
that is a big cable. Like
Yeah.
it'll weld through stuff.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one that, wasn't aware of until I think you and I found it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Actually, I do kind of remember that now for sure.
I mean, it was a lifetime ago, but
Yeah.
yeah, just be aware of that. I wish I had been aware of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It
Little
was.
Sparky.
It was over top of the sway bar,
Yep.
and from the sway bar twisting, it had just damn near rubbed a hole through it. So, but that's all right. We put some electrical tape over it and trucked on.
It trucked on.
Yeah.
Stick of gum.
Yeah. All right. So here's some simple diagnostics, and again, I'm not going into details with this, but winch stops working. First thing I would do is, again, I'm going to get that digital multimeter out. I'm setting it to volts DC, and I'm checking both the negative and positive side at my solenoids, okay, or contactors, whatever you want to call them. And I should have battery voltage there, okay? If I don't, I'm actually going to check. I'm going to move and check my ground side at the contactor to ground, make sure that I've got good resistance. It should probably be no more than 5 to 10 ohms max. And then I'm going back. If I have a good ground and I still have no power, I'm going back to my fuse, checking or power supply, and checking if I have power there. So you're kind of just tracing it back, using the voltmeter, and checking power flow on it. There's not a whole lot. It's not like you got a ton of stuff. Most winches don't have switches to turn them on. It's pretty much plug the remote in. It's pretty much power wires to the winch, and then plug the winch controller in at the winch. Lights.
They go bright.
They do go bright.
I don't know.
Some do.
Some lights are brighter than other lights.
I feel like we're getting into like metaphoricals and stuff. Is that how we say that? Metaphoricals? Did I mispronounce that correctly?
No, that's mispronounced correctly. Yes.
Perfect. So first thing with lights is, and again, we're going to talk a little bit about radios and things like that, but I think Roy nailed it with last week, Roy from Alpine, when he said plug and play.
Plug and play is the best, and also stay away from aluminum-clad wiring crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But plug and play, and that's one of the things that I really liked about when we had the Bronco in and we were doing a little bit of cable management in the shop.
Yep.
Like all Oracle stuff is plug and play. You're not running wires. You're not like the whole harness is there. They give you everything you need for it. So you don't have to worry about any of this other stuff, like making sure you got the properly rated fuse. To know, you have to figure out what the amp draw is.
That's just the idiot switch. Come on.
Yeah, about it. You have to know what the amp draw is on the light. So you either have to have the specifications for the light, or you need to measure the amperage before you put a fuse in. But key to
Throw
have
a
the
40 amp in there and call it a day.
Yeah, right. Maxi fuse. Switch. Make sure the switch you're putting in is rated for the proper amount. You'd be surprised. Like, switches are not rated for that much. And
No, they're
therefore,
not.
a lot of times, it's not a big deal with LED stuff anymore, but the old incandescent lights.
Oh, you could,
Yeah,
if you had
especially at
like
a bar
the
of it,
yeah,
Yeah,
the old
you-
Bar
KC.
6 Hellas on there.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, you're just going
your
to...
cart
melt
ends,
the
you hear-
switch together, and then you're never gonna turn off, and then you're gonna burn your Jeep to the ground.
Yep.
You know,
So-
you know it's drawing power when you turn it on. You hear the engine go.
I wonder how many people bought those and then, like, looked at the relay and tossed it and was like,
No, I don't
"Screw
need
this.
this.
I
Just
need
put it
that."
through a switch.
Yeah.
We're done.
This is a
Or
lot.
On
Of,
off.
this is a
micro
lot of
switch.
extra wiring.
So yeah, that's key. And then again, making sure that if you do have to run wire, that you're running the right wire.
gauge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right size. So using the following steps to diagnose an accessory light circuit. Again, I'm not going to go through it, but it's pretty much like the winch.
Make sure it's connected. Make sure none of the wires are chafed or cracked or bent over something, busted otherwise, grounding out. And then use your DMM to check your
So
shit.
first thing I usually do when I teach electrical stuff is I tell people go to your source, because when you start skipping around is when you got issues. And I
Yeah.
kind of broke this down in steps and tried to make it as simple as I could, as if somebody were reading the notes and using it to guide themselves through an electrical repair. But I always tell people when you're dealing with an electrical issue, unless you're a skilled diagnostician, go right to the light or whatever whatever circuit is, whatever the end result is. Check for power and ground.
Yeah.
If you have power and ground there, obviously it's the bulb. Double down. You can check resistance through it, and if you have no resistance, it's definitely the bulb. If you don't have power and ground, you go and check your ground side. Make sure you have ground to an actual known good ground. And then if you do, you follow your power back to your fuse. If you have power at the fuse but not at the light, you got an open somewhere. Pretty simple. So
Process of elimination.
it really is. And it's just, again, it's following power flow.
But then
That's
if you have a blown fuse, that could you have to figure out why, right?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was ready to skip right over that part of my notes. There is no such thing as a bad fuse. I love when people are like, I had a bad fuse, put another one, it was great. And then they come back a week later, they're like,
Oh,
man,
I had another bad
man, I
fuse.
got a
man,
bad
this
fuse."
Napa makes shitty fuses. This is like the third one I had to put in. So you're blowing a fuse for a reason. You've got a short to ground, or you've got a device
Way
that's drawing.
overpowered
overdraw.
device.
So a
And-
fuse is meant to blow.
Yes.
Every single fuse on the planet is designed to fail,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
It's
That's
it's
the
there
sole purpose.
Purposeful
It's
and
purpose, right?
constructive
Yep.
failure.
and you can't have a bad fuse
No.
because it failed. That's exactly
A
the
bad
point.
fuse is the one that doesn't. The whole
Right.
thing
Yeah,
melts
there
down.
you go. That's a good point. Absolutely. So yeah, I know a million times I've dealt, over the years with customers that are like, I got a bad fuse, and they're like, 3 bad fuses in a row. No, you don't have a bad fuse. You have a short,
yeah.
or you have something that's drawing too much.
You are a bad fuse.
Yeah, right.
I'm about to blow my fuse.
So, and there's some points in here to going through and checking, going a step further, and checking for shorts and things like that, in the notes that, you guys will have access to on Patreon. All right. Fridges.
Oh my god,
I love
So-
my fridge.
you do.
I use the shit out of my fridge too.
I like mine too now that I got it working right.
yeah.
Before I was not happy with it. So, first thing I'm going to say is, and I ruined a cooler worth of food. Take whatever connector it comes with, right? And whatever 12-volt receptacle is in your car. Take those two and throw them out. And then order the ARB threaded socket kit.
It's
And
worth every penny.
You
Yep.
won't pull out. Yeah.
No, it is. You got to do that. And I
And
first
then
time I
have
put
a
my fridge in-
professional set it up, because unless you're fully confident of running that wire correctly, crimping those ends correctly, and threading it all together, have a professional set
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah. So, like I said, I ruined a cooler worth of food once, and that was enough for me. $70 worth of food and drinks in there, and they're gone in a couple hours because the connector came undone. So we talked about this last show. Issue with mine was it was killing the battery. It was not, the cooler would shut off. All kinds of issues. Turned out to be a ground problem. I had a shared ground, and just wasn't a good location.
Yeah.
Put it in another. Did a voltage drop test on the negative side. Figured out that the ground was, I had a huge voltage drop on it. Fixed it up. System's worked great since. But that one ground was ground for my audio stuff. It was everything in the back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And changing the grounds around to individual grounds and making sure everything was closer to the actual load devices made a huge difference. So good, clean grounds are really important. Again, you want to make sure everything's fused. So couple problems with fridges. Fridge seems to draw more power or depletes battery quickly. And again, you're going to do voltage drops on both the power side and the negative side. Nothing more than a half a volt. If you have anything more than a half a volt, that's your issue.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's what it is. These fridges really don't fail a whole lot. I had mine apart. It's pretty simple. It's not complex. Fridge doesn't turn on. Again, it's a power and ground issue to the whatever you're using to feed the power. So as well, use your digital multimeter to check for voltage at your positive side, negative side, and then you just kind of follow power flow back again.
Yeah.
That's really it for fridges. Radios. So, radio, and as Roy from Alpine said, plug and play should be a definite. If you don't have a solid knowledge of electrical systems, you can do some serious damage to audio stuff. The example of that is, let's say that you are building your own system, right? And you're running 2 subs. And you want to run a 1 ohm stable. You want to run them on a 1 ohm stable amp. You have to make sure you have those wired right to do that. And they need to be wired in parallel, right? And you need two 2 ohm subs to do that. So, and I put the formula down below. R1 times R2 is over R1 plus R2 equals your resistance total. In that case is 1 ohm. That gets you to right. But if you don't understand that, you smoke an amp, smoke a head unit.
Easily.
Yep. Ruin subs. So you got to have a good understanding of all that. If you don't, plug and play is the way to go. And again, same thing. Make sure that you're using the correct gauge wiring for both speaker wire and ground systems. I threw a size calculator in the notes. Equally as important, connections are all good, all that stuff. Problems and possible solutions. Feedback through speakers usually denotes a poor ground. Extreme parasitic draw. Ran into this with mine. Didn't we have that issue with yours too, the Meister box?
Yeah.
So I had my battery would die overnight. I would check parasitic draw, and my Jeep was at like 50 milliamps, perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
But it would die overnight. So what I ended up doing was putting a graphing recording multimeter on it and left it on overnight, and I saw some high peaks that were on for quite a bit throughout the night. So it would pull 2 amps at like 11 p.m. at night for like 45 minutes. So then I went through the process of figuring out what module. So we put a scan tool on it and data recorded, and we could see the CAN bus system coming alive at night, pulling all the modules up and then shutting back down eventually. And you go through the process of isolating that. You can either do it with the breakout box, or you can do it with by disconnecting the actual module. And sure enough, it was a damn master box.
The Maestro unit, it's so temperamental, and part of that is the communication with the CAN bus system.
Mm-hmm.
Jeep's real inconsistent with the communication with that, so it's a combination.
Yep.
Of one poorly designed thing, and then of course Jeep being very proprietary with the way the CAN bus system works.
Yeah, well, I mean, any CAN bus systems are very finicky, and it is a tough system to work with. But like I said, I've run into a couple of those now where they've caused problems. Didn't you also have one that caused like a no start or stall?
Mine did something. It was several years
Yeah.
ago, but I couldn't remember what it was. But
Did some weird stuff. So they're going, what they do is they pull the bus down.
Yeah.
And then the car can't communicate. So another common issue I hear is poor radio reception. You don't hear it as much anymore because everybody's streaming everything. But, usually that's a poor head unit ground. The reason you're getting bad reception is, because it'll actually find ground through the antenna circuit. So
Yep.
and that's already low wavelength that's coming in.
Well, then also people put stubby antennas on,
Yes.
which doesn't have the correct feet of
Right.
stuff for that. So you
Yep.
got two things going on there.
Yeah.
But in our electrical conversation, the ground is the cause there.
Absolutely. And then, I hear a lot of complaints about poor sound quality, and the number one issue for that is buy a fucking Alpine setup.
Buy an Alpine.
Problem fixed.
That's a good way to put a
Problem
pin in
solved.
Yeah.
Buy an Alpine.
Man, I feel like I've learned so much. You always come prepared, and it's
Thank you.
I learn a lot, and just hanging around with you guys, it's tremendous. If you have those questions about electricity, I'm going to give you Don's personal phone number here, and you can just call him directly.
Yeah, call me anytime between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m.
But info@jeeplifepodcast.com. We'll try to figure that out, or make a specific episode for that, or maybe, join our Patreon, and you have access to all these show notes and the links that are included in them. Because I'm too lazy to make it available on our regular show notes, so I have to have Don do it, and he won't do it for free. So,
No. Fuck you, pay me.
That's right.
Pay me.
Yeah. Thanks, Don, for coming in
Of course.
and doing all the extra work on this. It's awesome. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Like I said, stuff will be on Patreon, and I think Billy and I were talking. Next up in a couple of weeks, we'll be we're gonna talk about building some tons.
Heck yeah.
Axles.
Yeah.
1 ton swaps.
There we go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Jay Station just woke up over here. He's like, "What? 1 ton swaps? What are we doing? What, how?"
When you said you got me a special little something,
No, it wasn't 1 tons.
why not?
You can buy 1 tons and we could build them.
No, I need you to find them.
Those were
fall off-
wontons.
I need them to
Wonton.
fall off the
Wonton.
back.
All right, I'm not
I need
rolling
them to
noodles for you, man.
They need to fall off the back of.
Nothing
a truck.
falls off of a truck anymore.
Speaking of falling off the truck, I'm about to fall off and go to sleep.
I hear you.
Bill, where can people find us?
Well, everybody, I want you to head over to our link tree, linktr.ee/Jeep Life Podcast. And if not, we have a YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram. We're available on all of your streaming platforms. So just search Jeep Life Podcast, and you're going to get hooked up with all of the latest and greatest from us.
yeah, do it.
The greatest hits.
This is the crowded studio, but I've actually enjoyed the setup in here. It's pretty nice. It's cozy with
been sitting
all
on
four
slats.
of
It's
us.
kind of warmer in here.
Yeah,
with the
it
floor.
warms it up
a little bit.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can do this 4-chair every once in a while. It's nice to
time.
do. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. Monday nights are when we record our live show. So make
Sometime
sure to-
between is 7:30
Sunday and
uh,
Tuesday, 3 p.m.
The big
Depending on
Jeep
your
wave
time
to you,
zone.
and
Here's a big Jeep wave to you, everyone.
This depends on your time zone.
or what we're doing.
or
or
what
not.
time zone we're in.
Yeah.